the first thing we're going to do is obviously you might want to know some of the things we're going to be doing today. So we are doing games and differentiation, but we're going to work with place value. We're going to do some number sense operations that you do in your class, do fraction decimal conversions. We're going to do fraction comparison and operations, and then we're going to do a thing with mean and medians. So those are all the different kinds of concepts that we'll be covering today. Hopefully I get through all of them. We find that when you play a game in your class, it's best to use what we call a 4-step game implementation process. So we're going to do a little introduction to that before we actually get to play the games, because it's very useful to get kids to know the rules and how to play. We're going to go through some smart basics. We're going to use smartboard simulations during this workshop, and we'll just go through some basics very quickly. And the actual games that we're going to play are called Place Value Bullseye. You received all these in an email that Steve sent earlier. We're going to do this activity called 3-Digit Fun. We're going to do the fraction comparison game, the fraction operation games, which also, by the way, include integer games, algebraic thinking, and decimals as well. So we'll talk about that for quite some time. We're going to play the mean median game. These are all games that I have made up for the books that I've written. And basically, the last one is an earn an 80 game. It should be and, not and. And the bottom there, well, of course, we'll have a little closure and summary to the entire workshop today. So let's get started, and I want to go through the 4-step game implementation program. So let me just change slide programs for just a second, and we'll bring up a new one. Here we go. Let's see, game implementation. Okay, and right now on your screen you should see the following. It's the 4-step game implementation procedure or process. So basically, when we do this, I have found as a teacher that if I only explain the game once and I get the kids to play the game, what happens is a lot of them don't play the rules that we just explained. So this sort of ensures that they know the rules before you give them independent play time. So let's go on and see what the steps are. The first step basically is for the teacher to play against the class. The kids have nothing in their hands. They have no materials in their hands. You are either modeling this on an overhead or use a chalkboard, or we're going to use smart technology. But you're going to model this with the kids participating, but them not actually having anything in their hands. You could hand out dice to one kid at a time or something if you wanted to roll dice if that's necessary in the game. But you play against the class. That gives you an opportunity to model the rules and to see if they really know the concepts that are involved in the game. Okay, once step 1 is finished, let's say you do that on day 1. Go to day 2 and you want to put in step 2. Well, step 2 also does not let them have anything in their hands. What you do is you divide the class into two teams, Team A and Team B. And again, you model the rules and so forth, and you call on members in the team to give you answers or to roll the dice or whatever involved in the game. But you really don't have them have anything in their hands. You're controlling everything. So it's the second time that they see the rules for the game. The third step is the one where you now have given them these background of 2 days of rules, and now you're actually going to have them play the game. Now here is what we do. We get students in pairs, and we give students labels of student A and student B. They have all the materials that they need, but the catch is that they don't do anything until you tell them to do it. Like I'll say, student A, carefully roll the dice, and you do whatever you have to do, or pick a card or whatever, and then do what you have to do with that particular operation of the game. Student B, check them out, make sure they get the right answer. Student A, record your answer or whatever they have to do. Student A, carefully give the dice to student B. Student B, you roll the dice or whatever, and student A checks you out. And I control everything student A versus student B, but they're playing the game while I am controlling their excuse me, their operation. So the last step is that you give them independent play. At this time, you are almost guaranteed that most of the kids know the rules and they play the game the way that you have designed it, or the way the book has designed it, or whatever. I have found that by doing this, if I have 30 kids in a class, that means I have 15 pairs that I'm working with, and only now I only have to go maybe only to 2 pairs to re-explain the rules. In the old days, when I used to explain it, I used to go around to all 15 pairs and explain the rules all over again to each pair of kids. So this definitely gives you a streamlined version of how to get the game implemented quickly. I don't suggest doing all 4 steps in one period, but do it over 4 days. What's nice about this model also is that once you know they can play the game, you can put them out in centers, so you can do more differentiated instruction. One group can be playing a game, another group you could be working with. Also, you can send the games home. And once you know they know the rules, they're going to be playing the game at home with the correct rules and the correct concepts that you want them to practice. So that gets us through just the 4-step model that we wanted to talk about. And we're going to do just one more housekeeping detail. A lot of you have been on our whole series of webinars. This is our next to the last one, and you're very familiar with the kinds of things that we're going to be doing. So I apologize, but we need to get everybody on the same wavelength here. So this is the last thing we're going to do. It's sort of basic, but I need to cover this very quickly. If we're going to be using smart tools in a little bit, and I'm going to be asking people to move things around on the board. So in order to do that, what we do is you place the cursor on the word or the outline of a shape, and the cursor will immediately change from an arrow to crosshair. So if I give you an example of that, there's the phrase math is fun. If I take my cursor and I move that on top of math is fun, it changes to crosshairs. So the cursor itself automatically changes when you put it on top of that. Now, once that crosshair appears, you left-click the mouse and hold it down, moving the object as desired to the desired location. What I mean by that is you left-click, you hold it down while that crosshairs are there, and then it will start moving it anywhere you want to place it on the screen. Once you've placed it where you want it, you have to anchor it by unclicking and moving the crosshairs off the object so it changes back to a cursor. And now you've anchored it where you want it. So it's fairly easy to do. I'll just do one more example. When you want to move objects around, if you had an object that is that model that you have there, that quadrilateral, you take your cursor and you move it to the outline of the object, not inside, but on the object of the outline of the object, on the perimeter, so to speak. And then you do the same thing. You left-click and hold it down while you move the object where you want it. You then anchor the object where you want it by simply unclicking and moving it off, and that will change back to a cursor. So that's a little just overview of how you can move things when we do the smart technology. So the first game we're going to play, I'm going to switch programs on you. So in a minute, we're going to just see your screen is going to go blank. I'm going to just get a smart application going. So in a minute, you will see basically and you'll see your screen change. Okay, and now you should see a smart board or a blank screen on your screen. And I'm going to now bring up the program that we're going to be using. And the first game we're going to play is called Place Value Bullseye. So I'm going to open that, and you'll see that come on your screen in about 2 seconds. There we go. All right, on your screen, you see Place Value Bullseye. And again, if I just want to use the screen on Smart, just so we keep a focus on what we're doing, I want to get that out of there. All right, and we'll just bring this down. And you should see a black screen. There we go. Place Value Bullseye is the name of the game. In order to play the game, you need a regular deck of cards. Now, all these rules have been sent to you, so you really don't need to copy them down now. But you remove the queens, the kings, and the tens from a standard deck of playing cards. First thing you do. Then what happens is you create a 4-digit target number. Each player creates a 4-digit target number, or you can use the same target number for both players. And they choose 4 cards from the deck. The order in which they are chosen form the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the units placed respectively. You'll see that, we model that in a second. So you're going to take this deck of cards you created with the queens, kings, and tens out, and you are going to choose 4 cards to make it your target number. All the kids in the class can make it their target number, and the idea is then that you, every kid then takes 9 cards. And what happens is they have to arrange those cards into a group of add-ins that will add exactly or as close to the target sum as possible. So I'm going to model this. So if you think I'm going too quickly, you'll see this all played out in about 2 seconds here. So what we're going to do is just get rid of my little screen here and go to my next one. We're going to go to the game implementation. Okay. So let me get started, and basically I'll show you how I did this in a second. But I use a random generator from Smart. This is the card generator. If you haven't used this before, I'll show you where to find it and so forth. But I've already set it up, and the rule was that we're going to generate a target number. So we're going to generate 4 numbers. Remember that the jack is 0. So I'm not going to use the jack to start us off with just because I don't want to do that. And we're going to, we're going to take our next number. Now, why isn't that doing it? All right. It seems to be just generating jacks. We don't want to do that. All right. Let's see. Work today. All right. All right, hold on a minute. Technical problems here. Just a minute. And let me just bring that up. And we'll go to Tools. I'll show you how where all this comes from. I don't know why this is doing this to me, because it worked a couple of minutes ago. And we're going to go to the card random generator. All right, let me just get rid of these cards right there. All right. So now, what we need to do is we're going to generate the cards, and again, we start over the jack, so let me delete that. All right, there we go. We have a 9. Let's start with 9. We're going to go to 5, so it's 9,550, and we'll have to take one more card, 51. So as you pull the cards off the deck, that will give you your target number, your target sum of 9,551. The rest of the directions indicate that the kids then take 9 cards each. So I'm going to generate 9 cards. Notice that the queen comes out because you can't, on the Smart stuff, you can get the picture cards out, but you can't get them all out. So I had to leave them in so I could get the jack, but I'm not going to take any that come out to be queens. You would have those out of your deck. So anyway, my first card is an 8. My next card is a king, so I'm not going to use that. My next card is a jack, which is a 0. My next card is a 10, which I'm not going to use. Next card is an ace of spades. Next card is a 4. I know it repeated, but we're going to let that go for right now. Another card is a jack. Another card is a 9 of spades. Another card is a 3 of diamonds. Another card is the king. We don't want that. 9 of spades. It's a repeat, so I'll just use another one. 10 and 9 of clubs. We have 4 cards. We have 8 cards. We need 1 more. Okay. So at this point, we have 9 cards. The idea of the game is that kids have to use their number sense and place value ability to create sets of add-ins that will add together to be 9,551. So I'm just going to mess around with this for a second. They can move the cards around. Obviously, they're moving the cards around on their desk. I'm just moving them around in the Smart stuff. And you could create, with your cards, you could create 3 3-digit numbers if you wanted to. And if those add up to 9,551 or as close to it as possible, you're in great shape. If not, you might want to use 2 4-digit numbers and one 1-digit number. Or you might want to use one 4-digit number, one 3-digit number, and one 2-digit number. It all depends on how close you want to get to the 9,551. So let's see if we can get close to 9,551. I am going to choose 1,008. If I had a 7, that would be good, but I don't think I do. So let me see. If I choose a 1 and a 8. Let me see how close I can get. So if I have 9. If I don't have anything that is going to be, let's see if I can get close to a 5 here. So that's 13. And if I could take this and move it like this. All right, at this point, what I'd be adding together, the way I have it arranged right now, is 1,481, not 80, because Jack is 0. 1,480 added to 8,993, and then a 0 is added as well. So if I add those together, the kids would actually add those together. Let's see how close they get to 9,551. So right here I have 9,000. Because I'm regrouping, that's not going to be a good idea. It's going to give me over 9,000. But if I put the 3 there, let's see if I can get this where I want it. If I put the 3 and a 0, and I put a 9 here, and I'm almost going to make it, not quite. If I do it that way, I would have a total of, there's my 9,000. I only have a 3 here, but I would be regrouping from here and make it a 4. So I'd have 9,400, let's say 92, and that's about as close as I'm going to get. But it's really cool because I have to move things around, and they can use their number sense to actually get the answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you guys a chance to move some cards around yourself. So I'm going to stop this application, and you're going to see another thing come on the screen for just a second. So in a minute, I'm just going to have this go away, and we're going to do something else. Okay. At this point, your screen should be white with nothing on it, and I am going to bring in a game that was made set up for Smart. I created for Illuminate, which is the software program used to deliver this. So I'm going to bring this on, and at the moment, you should see our target number has already been selected for us. It is 6,103. That is our target number, 6,103. What we're going to do is we're going to move the cards around so that we can come up to as close a number as possible when we add them together. That would be, I'm just moving these around right now. So here's what we're going to do. Just to practice moving the cards around, what I'd like you to do is I'm going to ask people in the groups out there to actually move some cards around. We're not going to accomplish any answers yet. We're just going to practice moving the cards around. So what I'd like you to do is, do we have a volunteer who would like to move the 9 right next to the little box up here on the left, right to the right of that box where it says use the cards below? Put your hands up. There we go. Sue. All right, we're going to Sue. Just grab that with your mouse, that 9. You can do that. There we go. And she moved it, the 9. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Put your hand down, Sue. You guys give her a round. There we go. All right. Good job, Sue. All right. Now we need Carrie, another person volunteer to take another card. We have Marilyn. Marilyn, why don't you move the 7 next to the 9? The 7 of hearts next to the 9 of clubs. Just grab that with your mouse. There you go. Excellent job. Give Marilyn a round of applause, you guys. Uh-oh, there we go. All right. And Marilyn, you can put your hand down. All right. We need another volunteer, and then we'll get to actually do the game. Let's see. Anybody else going to volunteer? We need to see your hand raised. If you don't volunteer, I'm going to call on you anyway. Battlefield. All right. Select one of the 8 teachers to move the 8 of hearts next to the 7 of hearts. Ah, you guys are great. Are great. Okay. So what your task is going to be is to think about what numbers you can create that'll come as close to that sum as possible. As I mentioned before, you might make two 4-digit numbers and a 1-digit number. That's nowhere near 6,103, but I'm just messing around with the numbers. So when you look at this, you might say, well, I want to do a 5 there and a 1. That would give me 6,000, but I would have to regroup if I did the cards there. Maybe I can mess around with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put everybody into their own breakout room. This isn't going to happen yet, but I'm going to create a set of breakout rooms. Each person will be put into the breakout room with these cards. What your job is, and we're going to come around and visit you guys to help you out, is to create the numbers, the add-ins that'll come as close to 6,103 as possible, and leave those cards on the screen. Then what we're going to do is we're going to call all your answers back, and we'll have volunteers. Nobody will know who wrote what. It's all anonymous. But the thing is that I just want you to practice with the game, and I want you to just mess around with the cards. So the important thing to remember is when I put you in a breakout room, you cannot hear me when I speak unless I come into your room. So you're going to see rooms formed in a second, and then your name will appear in one of those rooms. There will be complete silence, but the actual sheet with all the cards on it will appear in the room about 30 seconds after you get in the room. The set will appear, and you can move the cards around. So if the school has 8 people in it, designate people to work with each other, but only one person obviously can put an answer in. And then again, we're going to collect the answers. But Steve and I will be around to talk to you if you need help. Okay? But remember, it will be complete silence while we're not in the rooms. We communicate with you in the rooms, everybody at once, by sending a chat. That's the only way we can communicate with you. We can't do it unless we are in the room with you. We can use the mic. So let's create the rooms. Just give me a second. We're going to create breakout rooms, and we're going to distribute you guys to 8 rooms. Okay? And you see you guys are now room 1. You can't hear me. Okay? Let's see. Okay, why don't we go in and help them out? Okay, I've taken you all out of the rooms, and you should be able to hear me. And I've gotten all your answers. And again, nobody will really know what your who answered what because there's no names on it. You will know what room you were in. Hopefully, you'll remember the room you were in. And we'll just take a look at some answers and see how we did. We're going to look at room number 3. Room number 3 answered with 5,879. So I'm going to write on here 5,879 and 224, 1 and 0. So we're going to add those together. We have 13, regroup 0, 1. Whoa! 6,103. They hit the target right on the nose. Let's see if other people got it with the other combinations. But it's not. Oh, I'm writing and you're not seeing it. I just added that together, and the reason you're not seeing it is because I'm not using the right tool here. Hold on just a minute. We have a. There we go. I'm going to do it this way. Just hold on a minute, and I'm going to add it again. And now let's try it. So I have 5,000. 879, and I'm adding that to 224 and 1. If I add that up, it does come to 6,103. Congratulations, room 3. All right. Let's check out another answer. I don't know. Let's go with room number 1. Room number 1 created the number where they have 4,195, and they add that to 2,872, and then they added 0. So I have a 7, 16 regroup there, and we have 7,067. So they didn't quite make it, but they gave it the old college try. This is great. But I think what you can see is kids could use communicators or just slates to write answers down. You could collect those. If you use a communicator, which is a plastic sleeve, and kids write down the cards that they use, you can put those on the overhead, and you can check out different answers. But what a great way for kids to participate. Obviously, we had you participate with the Illuminate. And again, why don't you guys give yourselves a round of applause for working so hard this afternoon. All right? Everybody give themselves an applause. There you go. Don't be bashful. All right? Good. Excellent job. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away these papers that you have. So just give me a minute, and I will just remove all this stuff. Hold on just a second, and then we can get started with the next activity. So, all right, there we go. Okay, your screen should be gray, and now it should be white. Okay. Now, the next game we're going to do is called 3-Digit Fun. And then we'll get into a game that really does a lot of differentiation. So with the 3-Digit Fun game, I'm going to, again, bring up a smart activity. So I have to just bring up the smart program for just a second. So again, give me a chance to get that going here. And we're going to bring up the smart application. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now, what you see on your screen right now is a something you shouldn't see. All right. And basically, you want to get to the right one. All right, there we go. All right, 3-Digit Fun. You should come on your screen in a second, but I guess it's not there yet. Hold on a minute. All right, just hold on a minute. We're having trouble getting you to get the game here. All right. I wonder why they're not getting that. Yeah. I'm going to cut it off. Alright. Okay, we're going to try one more thing. Just give me a chance. We're having a little technical difficulty, but we'll get it straightened out. Just hold on. You should have a white screen, and we're going to try this just one more time. All right, and share the application. Okay, there we go. And now we should be able to do this. Okay. Sorry for the delay. There it goes. Okay. Feel better now. Now, 3-Digit Fun. The way you play 3-Digit Fun is that you are given 3 digits. So my digits down here at the bottom are 3, 6, and 7. And then I have symbols, a subtraction sign, a plus sign, a times sign, a division sign, a line if you wanted to do a line to show an addition or a subtraction problem, and an equal sign. Your job is to use each digit exactly once to create an addition problem that comes out to one of these answers. Then you redo the 3 digits, you use the 3 digits over again, and you create a multiplication problem that comes out to one of these answers. And then you create a division problem that comes out to one of these answers. So let's try it out and see how we're making out. And I'm going to just share with you, with SMART, I've used what we call, I forgot to share those cards before, we'll go back to that. But anyway, what we do is I use what they call the infinite cloner, and I can do a lot of different things. I can say I'm going to make a 36. I just put my my crosshairs on top of that, and I move it down, and that gives me the plus sign. And so 36 plus 7 is equal to what? Well, unfortunately, 36 plus 7 does not equal any of the numbers that are there. So I'd have to try it again. I might want to try 67 plus 3. And that does not equal any of the numbers that are up there either. I could try, I don't know, 63, 67 minus a 3, but that doesn't equal any of the numbers either. So I'm not doing a good job here, but I know you guys will do a much better job than I am. So let me just give you one of the answers. I'm going to use 63. You know that one's got to be a 2-digit number, and one's got to be a 1-digit number, because you got to use all 3. You have to use all 3 digits. So delete, and we have 63 divided. Oops, I picked up the plus sign again. Divided by 7, and I think that's going to equal 9. So we now have one of the problems solved, and we have 63 divided by 7. I'm going to make it nice and neat. You can line them up. Okay. Anyway. So now what we'd like to do is have a volunteer create one of the numbers, one of the problems that give us one of the other answers. And you're going to actually move stuff around. We'll help you out if you need help. But do we have a volunteer who would like to use those 3 numbers in one operation to get it to come out to be one of the numbers? Don't everybody volunteer at once. All right, we have a volunteer, Sue. Okay, Sue, why don't you I'm going to give you permission to use to take control, and you are going to show us one more problem. So you now have control. There you go. There you go. She's going to drag that up to be 7 and 3, 73. She's going to collect a plus sign. And then she's going to do 6. Make an equal sign there. This is great. Equal sign. And then you're going to do a 79. Now all the kids are doing this on their communicators while you're doing this. And then you can take kids' answers. Give Sue a round of applause. There we go. Steve gave you a round of applause. You other guys, give her a round. There you go. Okay. So we need a second volunteer now to give us a problem that is different from the ones that are up there, and give me another answer. We're either going to go with 431, 438, or 31. So we have a different volunteer to help us out. There we go. We have Marilyn. All right, Marilyn's going to help us out. And go ahead. I'm going to give you permission to use the application. All right, go ahead and give us the next problem. She's going to use 7 and 3, 73, okay, times, whoa, all right, times 6. And that is equal to 400, I shouldn't give the answer away, 438. All right, excellent job. Give Marilyn a round of applause, you guys. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is put your hand down, Marilyn, and we need one more volunteer. Marilyn, you can't volunteer again. Okay. Don't volunteer again. We'd like somebody else to volunteer who hasn't gone yet. How about Carrie? You want to give it a try? We can give you help if you want it. Put your hand up if you want to try. Marilyn, do you have a question? Let's see if she has a question. Marilyn, if you have a question, turn your mic on and ask us the question. Oh, she's going to chat. All right. Chat your question so we can see it. All right. No. Okay, you don't have a question. Okay. Put your hand down, Marilyn, if you would, please. All right. Carrie, you want to give it a try? Or Battlefield, you want to give it a try? Give us our last problem. Guys shouldn't be shy. There's only a couple of people in the group. We're all friends now. All right, Battlefield, give us a try, and we need to come out with 31. I'm going to give you guys permission to use the computer. And there we go. Go ahead. There you go. 3, 7, that's 37, minus, excellent job, you guys, 6 is equal to 31. Look, you just drag it from the answers on there. There you go. 31. All right, give Battlefield a round of applause, you guys. Okay, there you go. All right, excellent job. If you want to create these in your own class, obviously you don't need the smart stuff. I just gave you one more game here, but they're really easy to create. They're easier to create than they are to solve. You take 3 digits. In this case, it took 4, 5, and 9. And you just make up the addition problem, the multiplication problem, the division problem, and the subtraction problem, and you put the answers down. And you can make these up, you know, as I said, they're easier to make up than they are to solve sometimes. 54 plus 9 I could have made up, which would have been 63. I don't have that, of course, but I could have made that one up. I could have made up one where I have 95 times 4. You know, so there's all different ones I have. I'm not going to have you try those because I want to get on to another game. So I do want to just take a minute because in the last game I didn't really give you the opportunity to see how I created those cards on the screen when we played a place value bullseye. So I just want to show you that if you're not familiar with this. You go over here to the tab icons, and we're going to take this one that is called the Gallery Essentials. I'm going to click on Gallery Essentials, and you see it says My Content. We won't get into that yet, but we'll get into the idea of Gallery Essentials. We'll go on to Lesson Activity Toolkit. The cards are located in the Lesson Activity Toolkit, so I'm going to click on that, and then you can see on your screen that there's all these sub folders. The cards are in the Tools, so I'm going to click on Tools, and then you see down here where my arrow is, you see it says Interactive Media. I click on Interactive Media, and all this stuff is ways you can interact with the kids and do different things. We'll do some of this today as the workshop goes on. But right there it says Random Card Generator. You click on that and drag it over. Now, you see I'm going to make this a little larger. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to grab the circle down here, and that makes it a larger card so you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Now, you will see it has an X there or a little check, picture cards. If you take the check off, picture cards will not show up as you click on the cards. You random. If you don't want the cards to repeat, then you click on No Repeat, and you can go through the cards, and they will not repeat until you get through 52 cards. If you want the cards to come out like I did with the game, you click where it says, I can't read it because it's so blurry on my screen, Inject Automatically. And what we want to do is now when I do it, the 3 comes out, and I can move it around. Now, you will notice that when I did this in my game, I had my sheet a lot smaller. So I'm going to make my sheet a lot smaller by using, notice I clicked on that, and I have my, my circle down there, and that will be my resizing. I can make it much smaller so that when I eject the cards, I can move them around, and I can put a bunch of cards on the screen at one time. So again, whenever you want to generate a set of cards, I'll just go through those again if you haven't used this. Maybe all of you know how to do this, but I just thought I'd add this as a little bonus. Go to what? Gallery Essentials, and go to that icon. Go to Lesson Activity Book. Click on Lesson Activity Book. Go to Tools, and then scroll down until you see the deck of cards, and just move that deck of cards on. You can resize it any size you want. You can choose repeat or not repeat, picture cards, no picture cards, or inject automatically. And that is really how I set up the game. So you are all set to play that game and with the place value bullseye. Okay, we're going to go on to another game which will bring a lot of differentiation in because we advertise differentiation. And we're going to bring in fraction operation games. If you've been to one of our other workshops on the 3 to 5, you saw this game also because I did it for the 5th graders. But I also now going to expand this to some algebra kinds of things as well. So let's take a look at this sheet. We talk about communicators. Communicators are this red thing. It's a plastic sleeve that you can move around, and as I just did there, and which you insert templates into. So this template, we have over 1,000 different templates that you can put inside the communicator. Every kid in the class gets a communicator. Every kid in the class gets one of these templates. You have permission to copy the templates. Obviously, the templates on your screen is a little hard to read because it's a little small, but it is a fraction template. And I have 1 and halves and thirds and fourths and fifths and so forth. And if you wanted kids to use this just as a little background on how to add fractions together as a preview to the game, you can highlight like a half. Just drag it down to the bar on the half. And what's cool about this is once you kids remember have the communicator on top of the fraction template, and they can move these down, and they can see equivalent fractions. So I just took a half. That line statement didn't change any. It's still a half, but now it has a new name, 2/4. It now has a name 3/6. It now has a name 4/8. And they're moving the communicator down. See this? 5/10, 6/12, and whoops, 8/16. If you really drag it down, you can even make it into decimals. You can make it into 50/100ths. So you can find equivalent fractions. But you also can add fractions together. Like now, what I can do is I can say I want to add 1/4 to 3/8. I'm writing, by the way, with a smart tablet. And the way you're going to do that is the kid would take a line statement, and because you're adding a fourth, they would make a line segment on the fourth, a fourth of a unit long. Since they want to add 3/8 to it, they just move the communicator down. I'm moving the segment, but you can move the communicator down to the eighths. If you do that, you can see your quarter become what? 2/8. Just changes it to 2/8. Now I want to add 3/8 to that. So I want to add 3/8 to that. I have 1, 2, 3/8. And of course my answer is what? The length of both of those segments together. And basically you see that you have a total of what? 3/8 here, 2/8 there, which gives me a total of 5/8. If you try this in your class, just make sure that you use the fractions that are compatible on here, because not all the fractions are. If you want more information on a fraction commercial now, if you want more information on fraction work with smartboards, we are going to be doing all 4 operations with manipulatives and these templates next Tuesday, March 22nd. It's our last session of this series. We're going to be creating more series, but that's the last session of this smart series that we're doing. At any rate, you could just review that with the kids if you needed to review how to add fractions together. And now we're going to actually play the game. So let me just move on now. And again, we will send you these files so you can play them in your school. You already have the print material, but we'll send you the notebook files. We also, you can download these from www.smartmathlessons.com. At any rate, the whole idea of playing these games is the fact that you want to generate fraction problems. And it's difficult to generate fraction problems with cards using the numerator and denominator of the cards because you get into wild denominators that kids can't have a lot of trouble adding or subtracting or multiplying or whatever. So I did it a little differently. These randomizers, this randomizer sheet is what I call it, will give you many, many fraction problems to add together. You see on the left-hand side, I know it's a little small, but you see on the left-hand side, you see cards. You see an ace of clubs to a 10 of clubs. You see an ace of spades to a 10 of spades. You see an ace of hearts to a 10 of hearts. And you see an ace of diamonds to a 10 of diamonds. Before you play the game, you tell the kids what set of cards to choose. And as you choose different cards, you choose different levels of fractions that are difficult, that can be added together with different kinds of skills. I'll explain that in a second. You tell them, like today we're going to play with column 1 and 2. But if to change the problems, you could use column 1 and column 3 to generate problems. If you want to add 3 fractions together, you could play with column 1, 2, and 3. But today we're only going to play with column 1 and column 2. If I have them choose only the ace of clubs to the 10 of clubs, just those cards right there, well, you can see I have outlined here on your screen, and I know they're hard to see, so I'll read them to you, is compatible fractions: 3/4, 5/8, 2 3/5, 4/5, 1/2, 9/20. We call these fractions, I call them compatible denominators. They're easy to find the LCM, so you can add them together. On the ones on the bottom, the spades, if you take a look at the spades, all the denominators for the spades are what we call non-compatible fractions, 1/3 and 1/4. These are ones where you can find the LCM by just multiplying the denominators together. Over here, they're a little harder. Some of you are non-compatible. Some are overlapping, where you have to find an LCM. That would be, in this case, 12. Here you multiply them together. Here you have an overlapping. Here you have multiply them together. So there's different kinds of, they're harder to do on this side. So once you teach the game, you can have one group just tell them to use the clubs from ace to 10. Another group, you could say, well, I use all the black cards. That would mean they use all these cards in the first 2 columns. Another group, you could say, use all 40 cards. You could use all the ace to 10s of all the suits, and that way you've differentiated the kinds of fractions that they're actually adding or multiplying or dividing or whatever. You can keep it as one operation only. Today, right now in the game we're going to play, we're only going to add, and we're only going to use the ace of clubs. So let me explain this just a little bit more detail so you have it down. The randomizer is the absolute key to the game. Once you teach this game, you can play algebra games, you can play decimal games, and you can play integer games with the stuff I've made up, which I'll explain that in a minute. So, the randomizer deck, the deck that will help you choose those 2 fractions on the columns, that randomizer deck is taken by choosing ace to 10 of the different suits. If you take all 4 suits, you would choose all the fractions, any of the fractions in the first 2 columns of any of the fractions that are there on all those cards. If you choose, however, to tell the kids to choose only the ace of clubs to the 10 of clubs, as I said before, you are only choosing the fractions in column 1 and column 2 for this group from ace of clubs to 10 of clubs. And I'll model this in the game in a minute. That's the randomizer deck. That's the deck you generate cards with. The other thing you need to play the game is a decider deck. The decider deck is formed by all of the face cards. and they're shuffled together. So it's going to be a total of 12 cards, the jacks, the queens, and the kings. And this is all explained in the rules. And now we have a decider deck, and we have a randomizer deck as by my directions. So let's play around and see what happens. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the fraction sheet, and we're going to play player 1 against player 2, you know, like we did with our 4 steps before, or I'll play against the class. My card is going to be a 6 of clubs. So I go to the 6 of clubs, and I see I have to add together 1 and 7/15 and 4/15, which is a 1 and 11/15 is my sum. I go to the score sheet. All this stuff is in your handout. And in player number 1 for round 1, I put a 1 and 11/15. That is my sum. So now I go back to my round 1, and now player number 2 is going to go, and they'll choose a card, which is you guys. So you just click on the card, and you have a 3 of clubs. So you guys are going to add together 2 and 3/4, 2 and 3/5, and 4/5, which is going to give you a total of 2 and 7/5, or 3 and 2/5. So you go to the score sheet, and the kids in group 2 would write down 3 2/5. Now, between the two groups, the two kids playing, they have to compare them, and they have to write down the correct comparison symbol. So, obviously, 1 and 11/15 is less than 3 and 2/5. Then, you have to go to the decider deck. The decider deck is going to determine who is going to win the round. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. I have a deck of cards that we talked about before, but if you don't want to use cards, you can make up a spinner with black and red on it. If a black card is shown, the player with the larger value wins the round. If a red card is shown, the player with the smaller value wins the round. So round number 1, let's choose the card. It is a black card. So let's see who wins the round. Black card is the larger value, and you just put a circle around that, and you play until one person has 3 circles. So the most games you're going to play are 7 games. So let's see how we're going to do here. And we're going to go and just have you guys participate for a second. We're going to go to round 2, and we'll just have you, as I said, participate. So round 2. Okay. Well, I'm going to give one of you a permission to remove that card so we can find out what we have to add together. And let's give Sue permission to do that. All you're going to do is I'm going to give you permission, and you're going to just click on the card on the top. All right, so Sue got an 8 of clubs, and the 8 of clubs is going to have us add together 11/20 and 1/5, which is going to be what? 11/20 and 4/20, which is going to give us 15/20, which will give us 3/4. So player number 1, which is Sue in this case, has 3/4 for the answer. So I'll record that for you guys, 3/4. All right, so let's go back to our round 2, and we'll call on somebody else to pick a card. Whoops. And now we're going to pick the card at the bottom, okay? And let's pick Marilyn this time. So Marilyn, I'm going to give you permission. Just move your mouse on top and pick that card for us. There we go. And it's a 9 of clubs. There we go. 9 of clubs. Okay. So with the 9 of clubs, that card is 2 and 9/16 added to 3/4, which is 2 and 9/16 added to 12/16, which is going to give us, what, 21/16, which is 3 and 5/16. I'm sure your kids can add these together in their heads just like I just did. So we go to our score sheet, and 3 and 5/16 is what I'm going to record. 3 and 5/16. Again, we decide which one is greater than or less than. We put the correct sign in. And now we need to go to the decider deck. And when you go to the decider deck, you are going to pull a card from here for round 2. It is a red card, and we now know the red card would be the least score sheet, the least value. I won't play any more rounds, but that is basically the way you can play the game. If your principal or your supervisor or yourself want to really randomize and differentiate games, explain this game to the kids, play only with the clubs here so it's a little easier for everybody. But then when you get them in groups, you can say, well, you guys right here, I want you to play just with the clubs and the spades. You guys over here just play with the hearts. You guys over here just play with the all 4, you know. And they're all playing the same game, but they're all doing different skills. So you can really differentiate quite nicely. Now, if you want to play a new game with different fractions, you can do column 1 and column 3. Or you can tell the kids to play with column 2 and column 3. Make sure you write that on the board so they know where to get these from. But basically, it's a great way, as I said, to get the kids to play the game. The other thing I just want to mention is all this stuff is in your handout. I've made up randomizers for algebraic thinking. It works exactly the same way. In this game, you can have the kids set column 1 equal to column 2. So you would have like x plus 3 is equal to 7. And in this game, they solve the equation, and then they compare the numbers, and then they choose a randomizer, they choose from the decider deck to see who wins the round. But they solve equations that way. So if you want to think about differentiation, you want to think about the fact that when you look at this, when I look at the ace of clubs, if I look at column 1 and column 2, and I look at the ace of clubs to the 10 of clubs, these are all in the form of x plus b is equal to c. If I look at the spades, they're all equations in the form of ax is equal to c. If I look at form for hearts, they're in the form of ax plus b is equal to c. And you can see on the diamonds I have parentheses in there. Now, if you want to make the game a little harder, what you can do is you can have them set column 1 equal to column 3 and solve as x plus 3 is equal to 2x. So you can do that. So basically, again, you can have them solve equations, or you can even have them evaluate expressions. If you don't want them to solve the equations, you can just use column 1 and column 2, or column 2 and column 3, and have them use the number that they choose to evaluate that expression, and then write those down and compare those. So that's another way you can do this. So one more thing on this before I just do one more quick thing here. If I go to the next one, I know these are hard to see, but these are integer randomizers. Same idea. Column ace clubs. The clubs include all of the positive. Both numbers are positive. Spades, one positive number, one negative number. Hearts I think are one negative and one positive, and the other one, the diamonds, are both negative. Basically, you can randomize all operations. This one is a decimal one. I have tenths here to add together. Here I have whole numbers and tenths. Here I have hundredths and whole numbers, and here I have tenths and whole numbers and hundreds. So again, you can randomize those. It's the same rules, but again, you can choose the different randomizers. Now, I'm not being sarcastic, but if you guys don't like the numbers I chose for my randomizers, you can make up your own. But this game is so good because you can get the kids in the centers, get the kids to work on the skills they need to work on. Just spend a lot of time getting them used to playing the game. It's a little tough when you first start, but man, it is worth it after you do it. Any questions on the fraction operation games? Just raise your hand if you have a question. Or give me a smiley face if you're okay with it. So we know you're still, I haven't bored you to death. Okay. Good. Okay, some people gave me a smiley face, some people didn't. Battlefield, there you go. Okay. So now, what we're going to do now is go to one more game. And we'll see I think we should just do. I'm going to do a game. I think where we get in something other than just operations. I'm going to do. I want to do something from statistics, data analysis, so to speak. You know, I think we'll do the mean median game. All right, and we'll open that up. So in a minute, we have the mean median game come on the screen. And the way you play the mean median game is you create, let me put this, to play the mean median game, you remove the queens and kings from a standard deck of playing cards, and the jacks, the jokers are 0, and the aces are 1. Red cards count as negative integers. Black cards count as positive integers. Reds are negative, blacks are positive. And what we do is, after you have created this deck, each player determines the number of data that will be in his or her data set by randomly generating a number from 3 to 9 inclusive using a spinner, a decahedron die, or a randomizer. So in other words, we're going to use those cards to get a set of data, set of elements, so to speak, that we're going to be doing something with. And the way we know how many cards to choose is we have to use either a spinner, a decahedron die, or a randomizer, which I'll show you in a second. Once they do that, the player removes that number of cards from the deck, and then they find the mean of those numbers and the median of those numbers, and they find the difference between the two. The player that has the smallest difference between the mean and the median wins the round or the game. So let's play a round game implementation. All right, player number 1. What we're going to do is we're going to either go to the spinner, a die, or a random generator. So let me go to a, I don't know. Let me show you the random generator. On this random generator, I'll show you how I made this in a little bit. I took what I call what Smart calls a word randomizer, but instead of using words, I put in digits from 0 to 9. By the way, you have to have a 3 or higher in order to play the game. So what I'd like, because you have to have 3 data pieces. So if you get a 0, 1, or 2, you have to go again. But anyway, I'm going to select, and it is a 0. That's not going to work. I'll do it again. It is a 6. So we're going to go back to player number 1. And player number 1 needs 6 pieces of data. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Those are our 6 pieces of data, or our 6 data, our elements. Is there an echo? And what we need to do is we need to find the mean and the median of this set. Now remember, the red cards are negative, and the black cards are positive. So let me put those in order so we can find the median. So -7, -5, -1, 3, 9, and 10. So -7, -5, -1, 3, 9, and 10. All right, so they're in order. So what is the median for our group? Obviously, you guys know how to find the median. It's -1 and 3, which give me a 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the median is a positive 1. The median is a positive 1. Okay. Now, what is the mean? Well, the mean, let's see what we can get out of here. We have a -13 added to a positive 12 gives me a -1. And -1 added to 10 gives me a 9. So the sum is 9. And the number of elements we have are 6. So 9/6 in essence is 1 1/2. And now, what is the difference between the median and the mean is what? 1/2. So I can go to my score sheet if I want. It's 1/2. And the mean was what? 1 1/2. And my median was 1. So I'm going to go to my score sheet and record it. And player number one, round number one, has a half is their difference. Okay. So let's go to player one and check that out. I already forgot what it was. It is what half. Okay. So now we're going to go to player number two. And player number two does the same thing. This time I'll go to a die. And this is the 10-sided die that is part of the Smart Tools. And it came out to be a 7. So player number two has 7 cards to choose. So they choose 7 cards. And whoops, and remember, let's see, we have a 4. We don't want it to repeat. I guess I didn't choose repeat. So, all right, we have another 4. We need 7 cards. We have an ace. We have 8. That's 4 cards. We need 5 cards. That's another repeat. I should have taken that repeat out of there and put it in. 3. And we have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 1 more card. And 5 of diamonds. Okay. So this group has to get them in order. I was going to have you guys do this, but I want to save a little bit of time, so I'll do it. So it's 8 and 5 and 4 and -3 and then 1 and 7 and 4. All right. So now, again, this is great because kids, can line these cards up. Obviously, we know that the median is -3. I should write up where median is. -3. Someone right in the middle. And we can add these together. Basically, what's fun sometimes is you can eliminate the cards. -4 and -3 and +7 give you a 0. And +1 and +4 and -5 give you a 0. So the sum is -8. And we had how many cards? We had 7 cards, right? So we have a sum of, we have a mean we have a mean of -1 and 1/7. Or if you want to change that to a decimal, you could say it's about -1.14. Basically, that's a rough estimate. But anyway, what is the difference between the two of these? It is what? It's not quite 2. It's 1 and 6/7. If I added that right. And that's the difference between the two of them. So now, what we want to find out is we want to record that on our score sheet. And we have 1 and 6/7. So the player that is what? Closest to the mean and median together wins the round. You can play 3 rounds like we usually play 3 rounds. Or you can just say that's the winner of the game. Whatever. But the point is that you are practicing doing mean and, you're practicing doing mean and median at the same time. So let me go back to the directions. Now, I'm just going to show you a quick thing here, and then we're going to bring all this together. You might be wondering how I created that word, the generator, and how I navigate on the Smart. Again, I don't know your Smart backgrounds, but basically, what you want to be able to do is generate that deck of cards, which you already went through on the other one. So I want to show you how you can generate a spinner, or we can show you how to generate the randomizer that I created. The randomizer would be better probably. Let me get a new page in here. Go to your gallery. Click on your gallery, and again, we've already clicked Lesson Activity Toolkit. Click it so you get tools, and you scroll down. You'll see the cards come up like we did before. There are the cards, but we don't want the cards this time. What we want this time is we want the word chooser right there. This one right there. You drag that over, and there are 36 choices on your screen. I know that's hard to see, but there are 36 choices that you have to choose from. And basically, we want only 9. So I click on the 36, drag it up, and I want 10 digits, 0 to 9. So I create 10 places. I just click on this, and I just type where it says type. I just type a 0. Here I type a 1. Here I type a 2. And to get to each one, I just move my mouse down. And what I'm doing is I am creating that randomizer, for digits from 1 to from 0 to 9. Kids like this because it makes noise when you select. You can select so it doesn't repeat. You can click that. You can reset it, and you can click. What's cool about this, if you wanted to also use this to call on kids randomly, I do this when I do a live workshop. I put people's names in. I put participant 1 up to participant 36, and then you're given a number. And then I have participant net 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 36 written on the screen, and then it just randomizes and picks somebody from the group. What I would do in a class, I would make one of these up for each period, and I would put the kids' names in. Obviously, if it lands on a kid that's absent, you just redo it. You can do no repeat or repeat. I would just say that it's going to repeat, because then the kids don't get off the hook. They can be called on again. So again, it's another way you can look at SMART. And again, I don't know your SMART backgrounds, but one more thing here. If you wonder how I get this to navigate, if I just click on these things, how do I really get these materials to navigate? Well, one way we can do this is when you see player 1 there, basically, if I click on those, we get back to the page I want to go to. And how do I do that? Well, I type in a word. Just type in, let's say, go to directions. I type that in, okay, and it'll pick that up. And then what I want to do with that is I want to click on there, and on there comes your drop-down menu. And when you see that drop-down menu, you see a thing that says link. And when you link it, I know it's getting pretty advanced, but when you link it, you can link it to a web page. You can link it to a page in this file, a file on a computer, or you can attach it to some document that you have created. I'm going to choose object. So when I click anywhere on the object, it will go to the page I want it to go to. I'm going to choose a page in this file. I know that my directions are on page 1, so I'm going to just click on page 1 and go OK. So what did I do? I created a text box. I went to the drop-down menu. I went to link. I chose the page I wanted to link it to. I picked object. Then I said OK. Now if I go and when I take my cursor changes from an arrow to a little hand. I know that's going to get me to move. If I click on that with a left click, it takes me to my page I want to go to. Great way to navigate. You can see how I've navigated through the games today. All these games we can send you. A lot of these are available on www.smartlessons.com. But I want to just end with a couple of notes. We didn't get to all the games I wanted to play, but we got to most of them. One game we didn't play, which I really wanted to get to, is the decimal get to 1 game and the percent games. Maybe we can do another session. I always plan more than we can do, which is good and bad, I guess, at the same time. But anyway, we're going to just end this and bring up a PowerPoint. And let's see, we're going to, just give me a minute to change this. And we're going to stop the application. And we're going to share our PowerPoint. Okay, so PowerPoint now comes on the screen. You have a little black box in the middle of your screen. I'm going to bring up the PowerPoint that we need. All right, and it's going to now come on your screen in a full screen. Okay, you're going to have a white screen at this point. All right, we want to continue to be supportive of you guys, and we have tons of stuff on our website. And you can download notebook files for free of these games that we have created so far and other activities that we've done. You can contact us here. Our company is LL Teach. I'm the president of LL Teach. And it's 908-575-8830. And, of course, our website for the company is www.llteach.com. But our new website, which is the one you access to sign up to be on this webinar, is www.smartmathlessons.com. Just let me show you a couple of things. Training. We come to schools and we do on-site training. All of our people are are smart, certified trainers that have math backgrounds. So we do math workshops basically with smart technology. There's descriptions of what we can do. We can customize to meet your needs, and we can come in and do a live workshop for a day. One of our people will come. Maybe I'll come. You never know. All right. So the other way to get help from us is by these webinars we're doing. And obviously February 15th is long gone. February 22nd is long gone, as is March 1st. So if you haven't participated in any, obviously you're doing the one today, which are Smartboards, Math Games, and Differentiation, grades 6 to 9. The next one we're doing, and the last one in this series, is March 22nd, next Tuesday. And that one is going to be on fractions, on how to teach addition, subtraction, multiplication, division with manipulatives, as well as templates and communicators. Any of these other ones that we have, most of them we have on they're on the website. Right? They're on the www Smart Math Lessons website. We make recordings of all of these webinars we've done. So if you want to go back and revisit it, if you've gone through stuff too fast, you can revisit it. Or if you want to tell a friend about this, you can have them go on. It's all free. So again, you can see those on our website. And this one today will be ready in a couple of days. Okay. If you wanted some free samples, you can go to free samples. And these are some of the things we've done in the other workshop, the other webinars we've done. The one we did today is your equation comparison game is one of the fraction games we played. That would be a great one to do. The decimal get to one game I never did today. The fraction decimal comparison game or the addition game is right there. So you can download those. The 110s and ones game is a more elementary game. But they're all free. You can download them and use them. We'll be sending you some of the ones that are not in perfect shape. The ones I just used today, we'll send some of those informally to you. The products, you can download our big book of communicator templates for free if you're a charter member. If you're not a member, if you're a charter member, you can download the template books. I mentioned 1,000 templates communicators. You can download those for free. If not, you can buy the book and download it for $5.47 as a member. At any rate, these are products that we have. Let me just go to a couple other ones. I want to point out the other access to the games is right here. So you can download some more games. These are also free, different lessons that we do and different games. So I want to also mention the communicators again. Instead of communicators, you can use plastic sleeves if you want. But basically, communicators are great because they come in kits, 30 communicators, 30 pens, 30 erasers, and the big book of your choice, which is the templates. And they cost $124.95 for a kit. If you already have your own pens and your own erasers, you can buy communicators in sets of 10. The prices that are here, right there, are for members. They're not for schools. You can go to our WWL-Teach website as well to get other information. But again, communicators are great to use because they save paper. They let you access skills and concepts and how well students are understanding your lesson instantly, so you can monitor and adjust what's going on. So at any rate, we're very, very happy, again, that you have taken the time out of your day to visit with us. Hopefully we have given you some things that you can use in your class. As I keep saying, we had just one, I think, technical difficulty today. We're just learning. Everybody's sort of on my wavelength anyway. Everybody's learning how to do this webinar stuff. We try very, very hard to make sure that you are actively engaged for at least part of the workshop. So at the beginning, I did a lot more active engagement. As it went on, I wanted to get more games covered, so I didn't do as much active engagement. We've decided that maybe these webinars should be 2 hours long instead of an hour and a half. But we advertise this to be an hour and a half, so we're making it an hour and a half. But we would love your comments. We want to make this better. I have a strong back, so if you didn't like something, don't feel that you shouldn't tell me. I want to know because I want to make these webinars better. and I just think it's the future. It's a great way to get professional development. We even do tutoring of in-class support. We would love to have a district join us and work with them to do tutoring with kids, to working through your in-class support teacher. Kids have got to have access to a computer, obviously, and the internet, but it's all hands-on, discovery-based kinds of learning. They move from manipulatives around the screen. We are going to do a series of workshops or webinars coming up. We're going to feature a different manipulative each day, each time we do it. So again, just keep an outlook for our emails coming to you. So please chat with us, send us a comment, and give yourselves a round of applause. Everybody give themselves a round of applause for attending today. Marilyn just gave herself a round of applause. Sue did. Carrie did. Battlefield, we want to see you give yourself a round of applause. All 8 of you. All right, thanks for staying. Have a great afternoon.